Happiness virtual book launch. Hooray! It's a party! Woohoo! Thank you so much for being here. I'm thrilled you're all here. Thank you all for all of your support for my new book. I'm just so thrilled and happy. So we're going to have a great night. There's going to be an interview followed by a Q&A. So be thinking of questions and you can type them in and we'll answer them at the end. And then we're going to do some prize giveaways at the very end. So stay tuned. Thank you again so much for being here. I wish I could see all of you. So let me introduce our host for the evening, esteemed actress coming to us right from Hollywood. You've seen her in Legally Blonde, Can't Hardly Wait, Maid of Honor, American Wedding, 28 Days, and many, many more, and many TV shows as well. Welcome the illustrious Corinne Riley.
Oh, Rachel, you are such a sweetheart. I am so happy to be here with you. This book is such a gift, and I enjoyed reading it. It is just beautiful. So thank you for this book and sharing it with all of us today.
Aww.
And, well, I have to ask you, what made you write this book?
Well, it was an outgrowth of the website that I started about 2 years ago, which is also titled Choose Happiness. Mm-hmm. And I was noticing that there's a lot of negativity in the world, as we all know. And I was realizing that no matter what else is going on in the world, it's up to us to make our own happiness. And we have to really make that choice while everything else is going on around us. And so the website has some videos and some blogs and some interviews all on that topic. And then I thought, well, I wonder if I could make a book so people could have it by their nightstand or on their desk so that if they need a little pick-me-up, they could just pick it up and open it up and maybe find just the right words they need at the right time. So it's all essays with suggestions and tips and stories about how to change your mindset if maybe you're not feeling so great, to kind of snap you out of it and say, oh, I can do that and I can choose happiness that way.
Well, I love that form of encouragement that you're there by my bedside and I can pick it up and say, okay, I need a little something. And, you know, it's such a wonderful tool to have to refer to. I want to ask you, what are your, like, some one or two takeaways from the book?
Well, I think one would be we can never depend on external circumstances to create our own happiness. Mm-hmm. Not a person, not where we live, not our job. And all those things, for the most part, are out of our control. And we always have to focus on what can I control? And that's what we need to focus on. I think it's really important to make that deliberate choice every single day and keep that optimism and hope in the front of our minds, not something that, oh, I'll get to or something like that. And to also know that we at all times have the power about what we think about and how we choose to think about that. Mm-hmm. The second takeaway, I think, is that if last year has taught us anything, it's that we never know what's coming.
Never know.
Right? So there's no reason to put off your happiness another moment more. People will say, oh, when I fall in love, then I'll be happy. Or right. When I get the perfect job, then I'll be happy. And those are all things that you hope will happen. But even if they don't, we could still be happy. And I always think to myself, did anybody ever look back in their life and say, oh, if only I'd just been more miserable?
Yeah. Right? Well, I think of that when people say, you know, when I retire, I will travel. And when this happens, but we really don't know what will happen and what's around the corner. So right now, I love in your book, you have this chapter on celebrate now. And tell me more about that, if you can elaborate on, or something to look forward to. You know, don't wait. Don't be stingy with it and hold on to it.
Oh, I love that you put it that way. That's so true. I saw Ina Garten on a Sunday morning segment, and she ended by saying, celebrate everything. And I thought, oh, I love that, because we really can. We don't have to wait for a birthday or an anniversary. We can celebrate, Taco Tuesday or something.
We can make the cake tonight and eat it. Anything too.
Exactly. And oftentimes knowing that's coming is the greatest thing, because one of the things I say is that one of the guarantees, I would say, of being happy is always having something to look forward to.
Yes.
I think about Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, where there's the anticipation of, what's tomorrow morning? And if we can have that every day, every week, and oftentimes I have found, like, you'll plan a trip or something, and the planning is so much fun. Sometimes it's as fun or more fun than
Absolutely.
the ends up being.
Absolutely. They say that in like, there was a study done that the preparation for the trip is sometimes, the anticipation is just as enjoyable or can be more enjoyable. Those memories, like waiting just to show you and share this place with you or these people, and I find that is true for me. It sometimes isn't what it turns out to be, but you can still choose happiness. even if you're in the rain. Tell me about that chapter. You being stuck in a hailstorm with your lovely friend. About how people let weather determine their happiness.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of things we can't control, right? So after the lockdown, it had been about 3.5 months since my friend Liz and I had gone for a walk. We walk a lot together. So we're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to see you. And we're all masked up and everything. And so we go out for this walk. And by the way, the weather showed sun. I don't want anybody to think that we looked at the weather and ignored it. It showed a beautiful sunny day. So we took off on our usual route, and we got about halfway around our loop, and we're seeing these very dark clouds start to form. We're like, uh-oh. So, walking a little faster, and then it starts to rain, of course. And we're like, oh my gosh. And then it starts to pour. And so, we are soaked to the skin. Our sneakers are squelching. She didn't have any pockets, so she put her phone in her pants, which slid down to somewhere we hope she wouldn't have a picture taken of. Let's put it that way. And we just kept laughing about it the whole time because it was so absurd. And then the hail started. And in Colorado, hail can be quite large.
Ouch.
So we're getting hailed on. We are soaked. And finally, we ended up getting under this overpass, and another runner was there. So it was not just us who thought it was going to be sunny. And he's like wringing out his shirt, and we had the best time. And as we left, we said, we have sunscreen. We should really have hail screen for days like this. And we left, and we're kind of squelched, to our houses at home. And I thought to myself, it would have been so easy to say, oh my gosh, can you believe what's happening? Why does bad stuff always happen to me? And just kind of grumped our way, through it. And now we have this hilarious memory. And that's just a complete mindset, because we had that choice. This could have been terrible and horrible, and our shoes are ruined, and I'm cold, or it could have been, this is ridiculous and hilarious, and we're always going to remember this.
Well, you really took the power back, and you changed that experience for yourself. And then you have this happy memory instilled, and that is what how you switched it up, instead of saying, oh, this really is just such, this, I can't believe these shoes are now ruined. It's so funny what we decide how we want the day to go, or what the story is we tell ourselves.
Exactly.
Or we can start the day over. It's like, we don't have to, accept it. It's like, no, I'm going to change my mood now. This is going to, how can you help me and help our viewers out there to work with some tools or some concepts that you have in your book about changing your habits? If you have, if you are more of a negative Nancy, and it may be a habitual thing that from your upbringing, or you just go towards that, it's like the grooves in your head. How can you become more of a positive Patty? Some days it's just like, this day is not going, or something's happening, or you get some really rough news. So what could you instill us with your wisdom from this?
And what I want to say here is, for me, the concept of choosing happiness is not just skipping blithely around with unicorns and rainbows all the time. Absolutely not.
Not being oblivious, right?
Not at all, because we have to be aware of things like the global pandemic, and we have to be
Sure.
aware of Black Lives Matter and all these things.
Absolutely.
So it's not putting our heads in the sand. It's acknowledging these things, dealing with them the best that we can. And then it really is, it can be hard work until you kind of get in the groove. And that's where I do talk about having tools in a toolbox. Like, for example, I have a pair of happy shoes, which, you know, I met this woman in college, and she came to one of the plays, and she showed up one day in this big, ruffly, flowered, colorful skirt. I was like, oh my gosh, I love your skirt. And she goes, it's my happy skirt. I'm like, what? She said, if I'm feeling kind of down, I put it on and I feel better. And I was like, that's so great. Again, taking that power back.
Yeah.
All this is going on, but I can make the choice to put on my happy skirt or shoes or socks or whatever it is and get that mood lift right there.
Sure. Well, we've been in our happy sweats, but it's time to kind of change it up and maybe get in a happy dress for dinner. So the other person also can see you get ready, and they matter and you matter to yourself. It's an interesting mental, but it's physical, like a, you know, emotional, and it ties into like, okay, we've been wearing the sweats. Maybe it's time to break out some of the clothes, or, you know, the things, put on some earrings. You know? I have on my love you earrings because, you know, I love you.
Oh, how lovely. Oh, I love
that. Love you. One chapter I just loved in the book was the Blessing Fund. This really, I thought, was such a beautiful concept. And will you tell us about what the Blessing Fund is?
Oh, sure.
How it began for you? How did it start?
Sure. I can't remember exactly how it started. I feel like we just
you were at Friendly's.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
I read the book.
Yes, you did.
You were at Friendly's.
So we were at Friendly's when we lived in Boston, a wonderful restaurant where it comes with ice cream at the end. So it's the greatest place. And I was there with my kids for dinner one night, and an older gentleman came in the door, and he sat down at like a little table, kind of like in a little nook. We could see him. And he sat there and he waited to order and he waited to order. And eventually the waitress came by and she said, "Oh, sorry, didn't see you there. What can I get for you?" And I could cry now thinking about it, because all we want in life is to be seen and for our presence to be validated. And so to say, "Oh, I didn't see you there," it broke my heart. So I thought, I got to do something to make sure this gentleman is seen. So we had the same waitress. When she came over, I said, "Hey, listen, I would like to pay for that gentleman's meal." And she looked at me like I had two heads. She's like, "You want to what now?" This is a long time ago. And so I explained I'd really like to just cover, but do not tell him who it's from. You know, that was very important to stay anonymous. So she said, "Well, if he gets ice cream, he might be here for a while. Can you wait?" I'm like, "We're in no rush. We're coloring the menu. It's all good." So we had our meal, he had his meal, and then she quick slipped me the check, and her back was to me, so I couldn't see what she said to him, but I saw his face, and his face was first confusion, and then he broke out. My son said he had a smile from here to here. Oh. And I watched him, he put on his hat and he stood up, and he kind of looked around the restaurant to see. And I was like, doing the word find. I wanted to make sure he didn't make eye contact. And as he left, I could see that his shoulders were taller and his head was higher on himself, and he was carrying himself with pride. And I thought, that felt really great. We got to do this more. So, right. Yeah. So
that is beautiful expression, because you're making someone's day, it's paying it forward. And I think it's become this concept now that people are starting to do more. You say, okay, the guy in back of me in Starbucks, if he doesn't have like 20 coffees, that's what does he have? I'm so nosy. What are you ordering? What's wrong with you? No, but a couple coffees, okay, but or just something out of the blue. But someone who's really touched by that, like, wow, that person just gave me a coffee and I'm running late to work, and that was so lovely.
And it really makes a difference. And when it's anonymous, it's just, for us, it's so much more fun. Yeah. So the Blessing Fund. So every year we set aside a portion of money. Some years it's been a little, some years it's been more. And it's specifically to bless other people. And there are very specific rules that go with the Blessing Fund funds. Number one, It has to be unique and something specific besides just a charity. We do that too, but this is different.
Right.
It has to be something tangible that will make a positive difference in this person's life. It has to be anonymous. It cannot be spent on anything for ourselves.
Love that. I love that it's anonymous.
And we have to use it up by the end of the year. And what's great about the parameters is then we're on the lookout for blessing opportunities throughout the year because we've set that intention. And then because we know we have to use it up, we're really looking forward to it. We have to be like, we have to use all this up. And one story that I could share was that I took a cooking class with this. It was a mom, she had kids, and she was really trying to make her way in the world and doing these cooking classes out of her home. And she said, I'd really love to start a baking business, but I don't have a stand mixer. So I was like, Jason, my husband said, how much is left in the blessing fund? What do we got? So
that's awesome.
And I dropped it off, and I dropped it and ran. And I don't know if she ever did it, who knows? But it was this need where it was something that was really important to her, but she just couldn't swing it. And
Sure.
Because we have this, it's set aside for this. I can't spend it on anything else. I was able to do it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're teaching your kids and your family, this is something that is a learned behavior. And then they're on it like, oh, I met this kid at school, or, it's a beautiful way to live your life, and a testament to you that you're giving that to your kids, and you're giving them the gift of giving, because we all know, like, it is awesome, to get gifts, but you feel so amazing giving gifts.
We do. And my kids, they get into it and they love it. We always take names off the giving tree during the holidays. And so it's so fun because we'll all go together and, I'll look for a girl, she needs, clothes. And my daughter will be like, this is what's cool. Let's
this time.
Yeah. Or my 6'3" son will be riding around on the bike for the 8-year-old, making sure it works. It's so much fun. And I have to say, we've gotten so much joy out of the giving. And I think when you open yourself up to the fun of it and the joy of it, and again, it doesn't have to be anything big, it can be just little, you'll just feel better the rest of your day. It really works.
And if you don't have money to give, it can be even helping someone in that way, like writing them a letter and telling them how much they mean, or a neighbor, and helping them out with, if they can't take in their trash bins, or they need,
exactly,
slice of pizza. It's like, I have some extra tonight. Yeah. It doesn't have to be huge. If you have something in your book that I really love that you said, something about net worth and self-worth. I love that combination. Tie that up.
Yes. With regard to things like finances and money, I think we all get really caught up in more money equals success. Mm-hmm. And that's hard to break from when you see everything out in the world and how we're really taught, if you have more money, if you are wealthy, then these doors will open for you, et cetera, et cetera. The problem comes when it makes us feel like we're not good enough. Mm-hmm. And that's tragic because everybody goes through ups and downs money-wise. Layoffs happen. COVID happens. When we first got married, we were living paycheck to paycheck. And again, we made sure to have fun date nights in because we couldn't go out and that kind of thing. So I think when we let our self-worth get tied up in our net worth, that is not a recipe for happiness. Ever.
Yeah, that's a good lesson. That's a good lesson because you can change it up and be good to yourself with the self-love.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Regardless of what your bank account says, because it has nothing to do with who you are as a person or who anybody is as a person.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it.
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding us all that. We need it, because I feel like the young generation too coming in, it's a lot about how can I make this money? How can I do this? Mm-hmm. And we're finding out that's not what brings us happiness and joy.
Right.
It's not the dollar,
Not. It really isn't.
It's a hard lesson, but mm-hmm. you have a beautiful story in your book because you are an artist and you have made some music as well. You have a music career, and tell us about the story when someone found your CD in their mom's CD player. It's
Oh,
heartbreaking, but I think we have to share it because, you know, the artists are starving sometimes. They're not making a lot of money. And why is it worth it to still create art?
What a great question. The story is, so yes, I'm a musician and I have some CDs. And I reconnected recently with a friend of mine from high school. We hadn't talked in many, many years. And we started emailing back and forth. And he shared with me that his mom was struggling with a severe cancer diagnosis. So one of my CDs is called Relentless. So I sent her a CD and a Relentless shirt. And I said, you're going to beat this. And she said, thank you so much. And she enjoyed it. And then that was that. And then unfortunately, some months later, she lost her battle. And the friend of mine reached out to me a few months later to say, we were cleaning out my mom's house and I popped open the CD player in the kitchen that she listened to all the time. And your CD was in there.
Oh.
That somebody would be listening to my music when they were going through the hardest fight of their life. And it brought them even an iota of joy or inspiration or something like that. That is worth more to me than any CD sales, awards, or anything like that. Because that's what the purpose of art is. Well, the purpose of art, I believe, is to create it. Mm-hmm. If you created something, you're successful, period. I also think for those of us who love to create things, we get stuck in I haven't sold enough CDs or books or paintings in my art show or sculptures or photography or whatever it is. We get stuck in here's what other people think of it. Here's how many views, et cetera, et cetera. And you think about all the artists and musicians who were never recognized until centuries later, and you think they died thinking they were failures, and they weren't, because they created these unbelievable things that people are just recognizing later. So I think it's just so important. If you want to create something, do it. It doesn't matter who sees it. If you touch one person, that's brilliant. And if it's just for you, that is equally as brilliant because you've done it. We just have to create when we're artists and not worry about all the rest of it at all.
Well, absolutely, because it can become paralyzing. If you're looking at, well, I think, the fame, or I need to make this amount of money, and then you don't do anything because you can't get to that until you start and just create something. And it's, something that you bring such joy with the music, and music is such a powerful tool right now, especially with people. You say in your book that you put together some different playlists and you put music together for different moods. I think we need to tell us about that. Tell us a little more about that.
So I do talk about having certain happiness tools in your toolbox. And one of those for me is definitely music. Music is such a huge part of my life. And I'll have my empowering playlist where if I want to get myself psyched up for something, I'll go for a power walk, and I'll put that on. I'm like, all right, I can do that.
I love it.
Or I'll have I'm too stressed, I have to relax. So I'm going to sit quietly and listen to my chill playlist. Or sometimes, and I have written this book and I do believe in this, I am not skipping around being perfectly happy every single day. So there's times when I need to pick myself up. Again, no one's going to do it for me. So I do have my happy songs, and it never fails. They instantly just lift me out of the mood I'm in. And it's magical. It really is.
It is. Music is so healing. Mm-hmm. Music is so wonderful that we can put on a song and you can literally go from being in a funk to then dancing around the kitchen. It's really wonderful. So if you want to change it up, you just change the station.
Yes. Speaking of, what a good lead in. So there is a passage I wanted to share in the book from the chapter called Change the Station. So I was driving along some time ago and a song came on the radio that really just brought up some bad memories and was putting me in a bad place. And I was, getting kind of morose and driving.
Happens to all of us.
Right?
You can really go down there.
You can, quickly. And so a little voice inside my head said, you can just change the station.
Oh.
That's right. I don't have to be stuck here getting sad in my car, I can just go boop and instantly done. Again, that's us taking the power over the situation. So it's literal, but it's also a metaphor for changing what we tell ourselves in our heads.
Yeah.
So to that, it's about changing the station. We can't expect anyone else to do it for us. It's up to us to choose to change what we don't like about our lives, like those friends who let us down on a regular basis, or that coworker who is constantly taking advantage of our good nature and work ethic, or the memories that send us spiraling downward instead of lifting us up. More importantly, though, I think we need to change the station when it comes to what we tell ourselves. There's that little voice in our heads that tells us we're not good enough, or that we'll never get it all accomplished, or that it's pointless to even try because it's not going to work out anyway. It also pipes up to remind us that happiness means the other shoe will drop at any moment, and that it's foolish to have high hopes and dreams for ourselves. Oftentimes, those words were spoken originally by someone else, but we have made them our own and we cling to them as the absolute truth. This particular station needs to be turned off completely, replaced by presets that applaud our successes, foster joy and optimism, and encourage us in our pursuits and endeavors. Let these be the ones we go to when we look in the mirror or talk to others or think about trying something new.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bravo.
Oh.
What about trying something new? This is a perfect time. And during COVID, everyone's home. Mm-hmm. We all need to try something new. What do you have in your chapter? I know there's a chapter in there about trying something new.
There is. And this can be really scary because we're really hard on ourselves because we want to try something and have it be perfect the first time. And P.S., it never is.
Yeah, we have to give ourselves a break and go a little easy on ourselves and create the pie, and it's nailed it. I mean, it's really doesn't look anything like that cake, but it's going to taste good. Hopefully, and if not, you just toss it out.
Right. It's like, think about riding a bike or learning to ice skate. Nobody can do it on their first try. Again, the point, like the art, is just to do it. Just try it. Why not?
Yeah.
A few years ago, I decided I really wanted to learn how to sew. I always wanted to learn how to sew. So I took a class, and with the kind of thing where I didn't even know how to thread the machine, I was like, help. And I had the best time. I still kind of wear my apron. The thing is falling off, but it's like, who cares? I mean, I think we made 4 or 5 things, and each one I was like the last one, and the coach was like, I have to go now. I'm like, just one more second.
Can you help me thread this?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I'm not going to be Vera Wang, and that's okay. I wanted to try it, and I did. And Sanjay Gupta talks about, for our brain health, how trying something new is one of the most important things we can do for our brain synapses and our brain health as we age.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And what are we so afraid of sometimes? What are we so afraid of? Mm-hmm. We got a trampoline in the backyard, and I laugh my ass off on that trampoline. It just makes you giddy and giggle. And, it's just, try something new during COVID. I bought it for the kids, and then I'm out there giggling my head off, bouncing up and down. And I really didn't think, I was like, oh, all right, I'll just go on. And I hope I'm on my back. And, I'm like, oh, stop it. Just go on and bounce, okay?
Right.
And my daughter, we've been baking, my kids, we've been baking a lot. And my daughter said the cutest thing the other day. She said, Mommy, baking is so much fun because it's like arts and crafts, but you just get to eat it afterwards. And I said, exactly. I mean, this cake is awesome with the heart on it for Valentine's. And, even if it's slanted and it's a little messy on the sides, and, as long as the dog doesn't jump up and eat it, I'm good.
I love that. That's the tagline for the bakery. It's arts and crafts, but you can eat it.
Exactly. No, but what are we so worried about that it's just not going to come out great? It doesn't have to look like the TV show cake and I made these, we've been watching the Stanley Tucci show, the cooking show, and I made these, I don't know, some gorgeous muffins the other night with the whipped cream inside. And we were laughing. Now, mine were like hockey pucks, but my whole family just sat there eating them, and it had whipped cream. I was like, yeah, we're good. All right. So we did that.
That's so great.
Okay, you had fun doing it and trying. It's not perfect, but who cares?
Who cares? Especially now when we can't do the things that we want to do and see our friends. Every little thing that we can do to bring ourselves joy, we have to just do. Just do it already, you know? Yeah, and you don't have to take a picture of it and post it. It's just for yourself.
Exactly.
That's really important, I think.
And I feel like a lot of what you're saying and a lot of your point is not just ruminating and thinking about things. It's actually doing. And the action is where we find the joy. And it's in those moments that you feel, okay, I feel fulfilled here because I'm doing something. Exactly. Not just thinking about it or worrying and wondering, but actually stepping into action. Exactly. Speaking of, when you have a chapter on when you had laryngitis, you said, talk less, listen more.
Correct. Right.
Tell us that story.
That was really something. As someone who, pretty much, would sing for my work and
sing for your dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Complete laryngitis, not raspy, not whispering, open my mouth, nothing comes out.
Nothing.
And it was really interesting because I realized so often we're listening to someone talk, yes, and the whole time we're formulating what we're going to say next, which is kind of rude, number one. And I realized I didn't think I did that. And then I thought, I think I do that because all I could do at this time was this, or something like that. That was it. So I really had to wait my turn and then figure out which one of those gestures I was going to use. And it made a big difference in my life because after those it was 3 full days, I made a conscious decision to listen more when people were talking and realize what I have to say might not be so important in this moment. And that honestly brings me happiness. It takes the pressure off me having to say something witty and brilliant all the time, and it's really, when you really listen to someone, I think you're really connecting on a deeper level with them. So that's what that taught me. And again, that could have been a whole, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't talk. I have to sing for a wedding in 5 days, which was true. But it was, again, taking the situation, turning it around and seeing it as a positive. Not easy to do. It did work this time, thankfully.
Well, yeah. And I think in those moments of silence, it's okay, and sometimes things are revealed between two people in a conversation, or even when it's silent, that you're comfortable enough together to not have to say anything. Yes. And that you're okay with silence. Some people need to fill the void.
Oh, that's so true. Right.
And it's okay. You talk about in your book, comparison is the death of joy.
Yes. Thank you, Mark Twain.
Yes, Mr. Mark Twain.
This is a really, really hard one, especially with social media and everybody posting these highlight reels of all the good things. For example, the person who posts that beautiful cake, for all we know, they could have had 3 tries that weren't that good, but all we see is the perfect one. And we think, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Again, I'm not going to even try. And I remember this really hit home for me. I remember I was at a lecture and the woman speaking was talking about how she grew up in the 50s when divorce really was not as prevalent as it is today and has been. And she said she had to go to work when she was young. It was her and her brother and, just her mom. And that was just their life. And she didn't realize that wasn't normal until she saw Leave It to Beaver and My 3 Sons on television. And then she thought, oh, that what a family is supposed to look like? Because mine doesn't look like that. So is mine wrong? And she thought, if I didn't have that, I would have just been perfectly happy in my life.
My own bliss. I'm good.
Yeah. And I thought that is it's profound because we don't necessarily want what that person has until we see what they have and say, oh, well, now I want that. Or we put these celebrities on these pedestals saying, well, because so-and-so is wearing that, now I have to have that. And we have to go back to inside ourselves and trust our gut and say, what's going to make me happy? It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter what anybody else has. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. What's important to me?
Right.
And a lot of the choosing happiness is really getting quiet and getting in touch with our own selves and saying, maybe I'm in this relationship which looks great on paper, but it's not bringing me happiness. Or I'm in a job that everybody expects me to do when all I really want to do is throw pottery or something like that. That's really, really important. And, you know, our time here is limited. And I feel like it's really up to us to make that choice to stop comparing and just be happy with ourselves. Finally.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound nice?
Beautiful. Yes. Well, it's a, you know, it can be a lifelong struggle for people. And why is it that somebody else has an idea of maybe who you should be, you know, whether it's wherever the messages come from, you know, nobody else is living your life but you. So you have to figure out, what is that when you go inside and listen to your voice? Like, what is really going to make me happy?
Exactly. Right. And, you know, what makes me happy doesn't make my neighbor happy, doesn't make so-and-so happy. And that's fine, because it's my happiness.
Everybody has their own drum.
Yes. Right? Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Now, what about during COVID, that it has been so difficult for so many people to find happiness, because it's just been a tough year for everyone. How can we find happiness and deal with all the difficulties and still create happiness for ourselves right now, like today? And
that's where, at least I believe, you have to consciously make the effort every single day. Again, we are not putting our heads in the sand. But if I'm not feeling great, I can go to my tools in my toolbox. Another one of my tools with my happy shoes and my music is I love to blow bubbles. I'm aware I'm a grown woman, but I keep a little, you know, bottle with the wand under the sink. And if stuff's just getting me down, I'll go outside and I'll do that. And it instantly just brings me up and makes me happy. And it's finding those little things. I remember I would drive with the kids to school and we'd be rushing around and it would be crazy, you know, we're going to be late. And then we'd stop at a red light and I would hear the birds in the trees. And I'd put the windows and I'd be like, hey, you guys, listen, the birds are having a party. Or, that bird sounds like he's mad at another bird. And we'd take that 30 seconds while at the red light and listen. And it was just fun. And
it sounds like to me that you live in the moment instead of ruminate, you know, thinking about the news and playing it over. I mean, we all know that it's just so rough, but you say, okay, I'm going to kind of break this habit of sitting there and thinking about this and go outside and try to appreciate the moments that I have right now with my kids. And
I think sometimes we get stuck in, if I worry about this enough, if I get upset about this enough, if I'm angry enough about this, it's going to change the situation. And I can tell you, never, ever has worrying about something enough changed anything.
Right. But the blessing fund will. Put it on the blessing fund.
That is true. That is very true. But we get stuck in that, I'm just going to worry about it enough and then I'll feel better. And we never do. Again, it's those, you know, control the controllables. Yes. I cannot control what's going on, but I can control that I'm going to put my happy music on now, or I'm going to put my happy shoes on when I go to get groceries. You know, control what you can control. And really, the other thing I would say is, don't worry about what, you know, I'm wearing these glittery shoes out to the store. And I also talk about channeling Beyonce or The Rock or whoever you know.
Right.
Because it makes you feel good. You can I'm going to wear my sequin top to go pick up milk and I'm going to hold my head high and pretend I'm Beyonce. And it just changes the whole day. So
I did it the other day playing tennis. I put on my Serena pants and I said, that's it. I'm going to play and it's going to be awesome. And I'm going to get exercise and just, you know, have a great time.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing.
My mom always calls me about the US Open and, you know, who's playing, and she wakes up and it's a connection for us to talk about. And I say, okay, I'm going to put on my Serena pants. And I did. And I won.
See, and you won.
Well, Rachel, you have a quote that you wrote in your book that says, keep lifting up those human spirits. We need you more now than ever. And that is true. You are a wonderful human spirit, and what you have given us, everybody can see you are just effervescent and joyful and playful, and you bring such light and love. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this interview, and I appreciate you. And thank you for creating this. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, mwah. Yay. Oh, that was so fun. Wow. So we're going to bring Jason into the party. It's a party. Wait, let me get my woohoo. Welcome, Jason.
Yeah. I wasn't issued glitter.
I'll give you some out of my hair. My husband, Jason, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
So it's time for the Q&A. Were there any questions that came in?
Yes, we do have a few questions.
Okay.
So first of all, a question for you is, how does this work for someone with anxiety or someone who feels like they have to worry? You talk about worry doesn't change anything, but if someone feels like that is always their first response, do you have any advice that you would give them?
Yes, I do. I would two things. First of all, please get on some doctor prescribed medication for that. That's very, very important. That is nothing to be ashamed of ever. It's just like diabetes with sugar levels. It's brain chemical levels. Please, please, please take care of yourself from that regard. First off, the other thing that I would suggest that I've actually done in very anxietous and difficult situations is when you feel like you're just going to explode, take things 1 minute at a time, or if that's impossible, take things 1 second at a time. Here's an example. I was somewhere where I could not remove myself from the situation. Normally, I would say, if you're in a hard situation, just get yourself out of there, but that was impossible. So I was at this dinner and there were a lot of people around, and I was going to lose it. I was this close to losing it. So I thought, what can I do to get myself back to myself? So I remember I was eating salad and I said to myself, okay, breathe. I'm cutting this cucumber. I'm putting my fork on the cucumber. I'm putting the cucumber in my mouth. I'm chewing the cucumber. Breathe. I'm cutting a tomato, et cetera, et cetera. And that got me through some really hard minutes. And then by the time I got through a couple more vegetables, I was back to myself and I could really handle the situation better from then on out. I've done it when I know I'm going to have a very difficult day ahead. I'll be in the shower and I will say, I'm squeezing the shampoo into my hand. I'm putting it on my head, or now I'm tying my shoe. And getting in a meditative state helps to bring down the freneticism and the anxiety. And that's been very helpful for me.
Okay. That also explains our water bill. So thank you. The next question is, can you talk about some of your Choose Happiness interviews and how those may or may not have inspired some of the chapters in the book?
Great question. Since I've been doing these interviews, I have learned so much from these people who are experts in their field, whatever their fields are. And I spoke to one, Dr. Brian Emerson, and he kind of said to me, I have a counter thought for choosing happiness. And I'm like, oh, this is all about choosing happiness. What do you mean? And he said, what about for those times when you absolutely cannot choose happiness? You are mired in grief. You are again, chemically depressed, or you simply can't do it. What do you do then? And he had an answer, and he said, choose something else. And his choice was gratitude. I simply cannot be happy, but I know in any given day in this grief, I can find something to be grateful for. And he also talks about writing down, gratitude journal. We've all heard that. But his is a little bit different. He talks about in the morning, he will think about what am I looking forward to being grateful for during the day? It's not just what am I looking forward to, it's what am I looking forward to being grateful for. And that sets your whole mindset of your day of, I'm looking for things to be grateful for. And that is a game changer and a life changer. Another thing that I learned recently was when I talked to someone who worked for Kirk's Illustrated and was a chef. And she was talking about how you're taught in chef school to always have all of your ingredients ready, your mise en place. And you can do that in your actual life too. Because I think if we're just running around and we have 15 things to do, again, it's that stopping and making sure we're prepared for our day or prepared for the meeting we have to go to. That's really important in your own happiness and contentment, because when we're prepared, we're always much, much happier and calmer. So I have learned so much. If you want to check out my website, they're on my website and my YouTube channel, choose-happiness.net. You will learn so much from these brilliant people. And they're still going on. More to come.
That's right. And if I weren't trying to talk and drive at the same time, I would put that up on the screen here, maybe in a minute. All right. So another question, did anything specific happen to get you to this place of finding happiness in even the most difficult situations?
That's a very good question. I can't think of one incident in particular that made me think this way. I think I've always been an optimistic person. But there was a catalyst actually for the website and this book, which is when I was at the post office. I go to the post office a lot. And I was in line, this is before COVID. I was in line and I kind of am friends with some of the post office people because I go there so much. And so Bill was at the front desk. And this woman was just yelling and screaming. Something had gone wrong, and she was just laying into him. And he was just nodding and said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And he even said, if you have to blame someone, you can use my name. And he was just calm the whole time. And she finally stomped off in a huff. And I got up to the front and I said, Bill, oh my gosh, how did you handle that? And he said to me, happiness is a choice. Why am I going to let some complete stranger ruin my day? And that was like, ding, exactly. I think so often someone will be saying mean things to us or being unkind, and we're taught in our lives, well, I have to believe that, or I'm a people pleaser, and if they want me to be upset, then I have to be upset. But it's just not true. And I watched him make this choice to stay calm and not let her ruffle his feathers whatsoever. And I thought, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be like. And that was really the start of it all. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. All right, another question. There's actually two related questions. One, can you share some of your happy playlists on your website?
Yes, I'll be glad to do that. Sure.
Okay. I can help you figure out how to do that on Spotify if you want. And the second related question to that was, what is your number one happy song?
Oh, wow. Wow. Right now, because it does change, right now it's got to be Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon. Number one, no matter what mood I'm in, if that comes on the radio or if I will even put it on for myself, I'm dancing. You've seen me in the living room. Yeah.
I have.
That's
Can
it.
confirm. All right. And another important question is, where is this book available?
Good question. It is available on my website, choose-happiness.net. It's also available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
And somebody did ask, how can I get an autographed copy of the book?
Oh, what a lovely question. I probably know you. I'm guessing. So you can reach out to me. Or actually, if I don't know you, you can reach out to me in the contact form on choose-happiness.net, and we will figure that out. I'll be happy to sign one and send it off to you.
Or through the Facebook page.
Or thank you, or through the Facebook page.
Yes.
This is why he's the tech.
That's right.
Yeah.
I am. And I will be the one figuring out how to get that comment from the Facebook page. So if anybody has any questions, it was me. All right. So as you mentioned, choosehappiness.net/subscribe if you'd like to get the news.
If you want to subscribe, I have a weekly newsletter which has content. There's videos, there's blogs, there's interviews. So every week you'll get that in your email if you sign up and subscribe. So please do.
All right. Well, those are all of our questions.
Thank you.
And if I missed one in the comments, because it went by too quickly, I apologize. Feel free to write something nasty about me. I can take it.
No, we're choosing happiness.
I will still be happy no matter what. All right. So I believe now we're ready to do a little bit of trivia. Yes?
Yes, we're doing prize giveaways. My favorite thing, prizes. So how we're going to work this, we're going to try is if you're able to type in an answer, I've got some questions here. We're going to have to go with the first person who gets in with the answer. And again, if I know you, I will send this to your address at the post office because I know it. If I don't know you, we will figure it out. So the first question is, everybody ready? In my book, I talk about my friend Bill, who was instrumental in my launching Choose Happiness in the first place. Where did Bill work? I just mentioned it, actually. And I go there a lot. Matter of fact, while you're typing, I go there. Not only do I know the people, but this past holiday season, I had such a huge stack of boxes because I wasn't visiting anybody that somebody came in and threw their package on my pile, thinking it was the outgoing mail pile of everybody there. It was hilarious. So anyway, we have Melissa, the post office. That is right. My buddy Bill, the post office. Oh, and what are you playing for, Melissa? You are playing for this lovely Choose Happy necklace. I don't know if you can see that. It says Choose Happy on it. There it is. That will be coming your way. Thank you, Melissa. Oh, this is so fun. I'm having the best. Oh, wait. Hooray, Melissa. Okay. In the book, I talk about having something to wear that you can reach for in your closet to help lift your spirits. The girl I met had a happy skirt. What do I use that are covered in glitter that I reach for in my closet? Go. I also mentioned this, I believe. And they work every time. It's amazing. I think maybe I'll have people post their happy things on the... Oh, yes, we had Amy and Paul come in on happy shoes. I have 2 of these, so you both get one. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Amy. It is my happy shoes. That is correct. And what they are, there'll be 2. It's a lovely Choose Joy to hang on your wall. Hooray! Amy and Paul. I have your addresses as well, so we're good there. Awesome. Last question. There's a chapter titled Comparison is the Death of Joy. Which famous author coined that phrase? Was it Oscar Wilde, Ernest Hemingway, or Mark Twain? Oscar Wilde, Ernest Hemingway, or Mark Twain? Comparison is death of joy. I was going to say we could have had the Jeopardy music, but we probably have to pay for that. So we don't. I'm guessing. Who said comparison is the death of joy? Hi.
I came back and I went away. Oh, and hang on. Part of the challenge here is that they were coming in from 2 different streams, so I have to make sure I get the person who got it first.
Okay.
Melissa pointed out that she actually wasn't the first one on the first answer, so we will correct our answers there as well.
Okay. Do you know who it was?
I will have to scroll back up, but they're coming at me. Coming at me like flying monkeys.
I'm so sorry, first person. I apologize. It's technology. I really want to do this, and we tried to figure out how. So this is how we came up with it. So, but
we do have an answer
with Mark Twain. That is correct. And Dave Alec, you get to keep your happiness journal. Another chapter in the book that says, "I am in charge of how I feel, and today I am choosing happiness." Going out to Dave. Awesome. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for being here for my happy party. I wish you could all be in the same room and I'd be throwing confetti all at you. Thank you so much to Kareem Riley for hosting. Thank you to my wonderful husband, Jason, for working the tech. Please sign up and subscribe, choose-happiness.net, and please go and get the book. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody stay healthy, stay well, and choose happiness. Bye. Thank you.